Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with the most prolific rap superstar of our time, the soon to be internationally known Diverse. Diverse, how are you, sir? How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you very much.
All right, I got some questions for you.
All right.
All right, to start off, why did you choose the name Diverse?
I chose the name Diverse because I feel my style is diverse. I wanted to bring something that's a little bit more different than your ordinary rap. I wanted to incorporate today's sound with a little bit of yesterday's sound. And when I say yesterday, I mean like 80s, 90s style, old school hip hop that had a message that wasn't just pertaining to I want to make you feel this way for the moment. I want this to be played in 2025. Classical music.
So you want it to be relevant to our times with a bit of the old school mixed in, but at the same
Right.
time being new. That's very, very prolific. Now I'm going to ask you a two-pronged question. Uh, where are you from?
I'm from Chicago, Illinois. Born
Chicago,
and raised.
Illinois.
Yep.
Geographically speaking, now I want to ask you again, where are you from?
Where I'm from. I
Yeah.
just told you where I'm from.
Exactly. But instead of geographically speaking this time, we come from all different walks of life. What is your upbringing? Where are you from? Did you have a rich, affluent upbringing? Were you poor and humble? Tell us, Diverse, where are you from?
I'm from everywhere. To be honest, I mean, in that sense, when I was growing up, my dad and my mom, they worked real hard to get me the things that I wanted. And unfortunately, when I was like 13, 14 years old, my dad had left my mom, and my mom was working two, three jobs just to support us. So a lot of that, coming up, it was still a wealthy side of it. I was still getting a lot, you know. I didn't have to struggle at that time, but it still felt like I did because I was missing out on him, So the material wealth didn't match up to what I felt could be the mental wealth, the emotional wealth that I could have got from that.
So your mother really, really pulled you through. Your mother really
Yeah,
had a lot to do with basically everything in your formative years.
yeah, no doubt, she really did.
Okay. Well, what school did you go to? Being from Chicago, you hear about all these different schools in the area, and they're always in the news. What school were you from?
Well, grammar school, I went to St. Bartholomew, which was on like Addison and Cicero, like North Side. It was a good school. It wasn't a bad school. Wasn't riddled with no violence or anything like that. It was a good school. High school, I went to Holy Cross, which was a Catholic school.
River Grove.
Yeah, River Grove, right. So, yeah, those schools they didn't have no violence or anything that you would hear in your ordinary Chicago type style schools, public schools or anything like that. But um, yeah, it was
So the
school
benefit of,
nonetheless.
for the benefit of the people that don't know you,
Right.
tell us a little bit about yourself for the people who don't know you. Taking your upbringing into consideration and your surroundings, and you being from the urban city of Chicago, a major urban area, and we're always in the news. We always have all this stuff going on.
Right.
So obviously that has some form of an influence on you and your body of work that you're putting out. You're very
Sure.
well known here in Chicago, soon to be internationally known. And as a matter of fact, it was funny. The other day I was looking on Facebook and I seen people from Hamburg, Germany. You have a following in Hamburg, Germany, which
That's crazy,
that's
right?
wild. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I mean, let alone to have a following in Chicago alone is big for me. I'm an introvert, so for me to get out of my element and to be out there and promoting myself is out of the ordinary. I don't. Sometimes I look back at growing up and I'm like, man, how the hell did I make it to this point to be a person that's promoting my music? And the music is a substance of my personal life. Is I give my heart and soul on it, so I don't hold back on nothing. When I was growing up, I held back on everything. I was scared to let my closest friend, my mother, know my inner feelings. So to come to hear stuff like that is almost overwhelming.
it is. It is. I could imagine for a person who's introverted, and then you put out your body of work, which is an art form. It's your art. It's you're pouring your insides out.
Yep.
if there's anything you could say to any of your former classmates, what would it be? If they could see you now, which they are,
Yeah.
and they'll be seeing more of you as you get international acclaim.
Yeah. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it because I would like to tell them fuck you, but then I don't feel that that's the classy way to go about things. I feel
Well,
that
it
they
might be. It might be.
I feel like they kind of, supported me to get to this point because although it's a negative type feeling when I think about it, there's a lot of negative feelings that I have on a day-to-day basis that, motivate me to get to every spot that I'm in. So to them, I would like to say thank you because just like any other thing that's affected my life negatively, I have made it a positive. So thank you.
That's an incredible statement. Yeah, indeed. Now, feeding off of the negativity, let's delve a little bit more into the negative aspects or possible negative aspects because being a white rapper in an industry that is mostly created by black artists or African American or African French or African Europeans, how do you feel you're going to be accepted in an industry that predominantly does not feature white or Caucasian male rappers?
I would like to hope that hip hop has gravitated to a level that we're not looking at race no more. I would hope that hip hop would take a look at the talent level and to look at the substance. We are so, as a society, we're so based on judgment. Everything that a person, what they wear, their skin color, no matter what it is, we judge them right away. Get to know me, get to listen to my music, get to, find out who I am, and then pass your judgment. Don't look at me as a white rapper. Look at me as a rapper. That's what I want. And how they'll accept it if we are not at that level yet, which sometimes I highly doubt, then it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle.
And you're ready
that's
for the
life.
struggle. Yeah, you're definitely ready. You've been prepared. Well, let's delve into the struggle, shall we? I've heard a few tracks and in some songs like I Cannot Take This and Can Ya Hear Me?
Definitely.
You go into this struggle and it's the struggle that you faced. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, I Cannot Take This was, that was just me pouring my heart out. Like everything that I went through growing up with, writing music and not feeling that I was going to be accepted with the music that I was putting out or just thoughts in general. I felt like, how the hell, am I going to put this out and be accepted with it? And I Cannot Take This was like my father, being a white man and my mom being a white woman, looking at my rap thing like, you gotta be kidding me. My son is a white boy and he is trying to do what is so not right. You know what I mean? So for songs like that, man, I hope that it reaches the people that have that struggle to accept themselves, and not only accept themselves, but to look past what other people accept. Don't care about what they accept you. That's the hardest part. And in the song, it talks about that. And I Cannot Take This, it talks about that. It talks about, how, the biggest struggle is to find yourself. And once you find yourself, everything past that is easy. Everything past simple. But that's the hardest part. And it seems so simple to be like, well, why can't you just accept yourself? It's so easy. You are you. But it's not. Especially for an introvert.
Indeed. So let's talk a little bit about your origin.
Mm-hmm.
Still, I'm going to get off the subject of your formative years into the newer modern day era, shall we say.
Okay.
But while we're still on that, I did want to ask you when you first started rapping. When did you first start rapping, and who were your major influences, and why did you first start rapping?
Wow, that's a throwback. I first started rapping when I was about 14 years old. But basically it was more like in the form of a diary, form of a journal.
Okay.
To record my everyday thoughts and, to to recollect on it and be like, wow, I felt that way at this certain date, you know. But after a while, after being influenced by Tupac, he was my favorite rapper. I started to be like, wow, I can actually put all these feelings into a song format, you know, and to move myself even further beyond the words and to incorporate that beat, and that beat can make me move. You know, see, us as people, we feel music. Music is something from the universe. It's something that is not man-made. It's something that is for real, you know. So when you take all those elements and combine it, you know, you get hip hop. So that's what I did. And then I 14 years old, been doing that ever since. And big influence was Tupac. Then I heard it was written by Nas and Illmatic by Nas. And those two albums took me to the point where I was like, I'm not going to write this from an emotional standpoint no more. I'm going to write this from an artistic standpoint. I'm going to start to put these words together like bars, like metaphors, to make people think and to say, man, he said that, he said this. Quotable.
Very interesting. This is very interesting. That's very deep to take your thoughts and emotions after having written them down and then put them to basically what equates to modern day poetry.
Right, and that's the thing. A lot of people don't understand that about hip hop.
And I was one of them. I've been one of them until Maya Angelou and Chance the Rapper were explaining this, and some of the people from the valet parking industry were explaining to me. And
that's good though that you're open minded, because a lot of people want to stay closed minded. They don't want to see.
I was one of those too until I heard you rapping, and then all of a sudden I'm like, man, I gotta open up my mind and check this out. And man, I was pleasantly surprised. Thank you.